Hello, everybody, and welcome to CGU's first ever live admissions panel. My name is Jeremy McWells, and I'm so happy to be here with you all as we talk about the different advantages as a student that you can receive by being here at CGU. Really, the purpose of this event is to give you, the student, the insight that you need as you begin your journey here. And we're going to hear from some of the best and brightest that CGU has to offer, both students and alumni. And so I believe that this insight that you're going to receive today is going to be really crucial as you begin your journey here. Before we get started, I want to go ahead and acknowledge that my colleague, David Altman, who is a part of the School of Arts and Humanities, the Assistant Director of Admissions at that particular school, will be live with us to interact with you guys online as he answers any questions in the chat. So please feel free to interact with us during this time. And as I mentioned before, we have some of the best and brightest here today. And so I want to go ahead and shine the spotlight back on them and as they introduce themselves. And so panelists, if you guys can go ahead and introduce yourself, please state your name, where you're from, the program that you are participating in or participated in, and maybe something fun like, what is your favorite spot here in the city of Claremont? And I'll go ahead and start to my right with Jose.
Hi, I'm Jose Lowe. I'm actually here doing a dual program for the MBA as well as a master's in HR management. I'm originally from Southern California, and one of my favorite spots in Claremont is King Kong Sushi, a place I'm gonna visit after this whole session.
My name is Lucy Leon-Groom. I'm actually a PhD student in the School of Community and Global Health, and I'm originally from Ecuador. My favorite spot is actually called The Spot. So really good sandwiches and smoothies.
Hi everyone, my name is Ariel Carpenter. I am from North Carolina. I graduated from the School of Education with my master's in 2013 and then recently completed the Allies of Dreamers certificate program this last spring. My favorite spot in Claremont, it's not food related, it's the it's the Claremont Wilderness Park. I go hiking there every weekend, so there are a lot of trails there that I enjoy walking through.
Yeah. All right, thank you guys. And Ariel, we'll go ahead and get started with you since you were the last to speak. As orientation comes up, for a lot of students, this will be their first, some of their first interactions here on this particular campus. Think back to orientation. And if you could just share a story or interaction with a faculty or what maybe something that stood out within orientation, any type of interaction that really stood out to you that made you feel that CGU was the place for you.
So my orientation was in 2011, because I graduated in 2013. I remember meeting in the Board of Trustees room. The education department had their mini orientation where we got to meet the faculty and staff, and I particularly remember meeting Dr. Linda Perkins as well as Cece Gaddy, who was the program coordinator. And coming from North Carolina, I had never actually visited the school before, so they were kind of the first people that I met at CGU. And I just, to me, Linda Perkins just has this this personality, but just also this like vibe, this spirit that to me felt like home, as well as Cece Gaddy too. So
fantastic.
I remember feeling like, this is right.
Right. Thank you so much. Lucy, I will ask you the same question. Something that stood out
Sure.
during your first time here on campus, once again, if it was orientation and interaction with faculty or current students, whatever that is.
My orientation was actually in 2014. I really thought the pinning ceremony was actually very beautiful because it kind of like we all come together into this place to start this path, this journey, looking for a higher degree. So I thought that was really inspiring, and obviously same thing resonate with Ariel, where staff and faculty that were very, very friendly.
Excellent. And Jose, I do want to pin this question to you as well. Just something that stood out during your first time here at CG. Once again, it could be any one of the three options that I laid out before.
Aside from what Lucy had mentioned about the pinning ceremony, For me, I remember that the first day that I got here, it was like coming to a huge convention. All these people coming together. There was a huge excitement. We gathered in the main Berkeley building, but we also met prior to that down in Pomona College in the Thatcher Music Courtyard. And we got a chance to share a breakfast, meet one another. And, like Lucy mentioned, we had the pinning ceremony, but there was so much energy. There was this group of people coming together with the same ideology to come learn and go out there and make a difference. And you could feel it. And I remember I still have pictures of my group that I met, and I look back at really this incredible journey that started then and that I'm almost coming to a close in the near future.
Thank you, Zay. So I want to switch gears to the reason why we pursue advanced degrees. When you're in it, if you're an alumni who has already gone through the program or a current student who is going through the program, there are sometimes some tough times, and you think back to yourself like, wow, like, why am I doing this? And why am I putting myself through this? But there are really great advantages of pursuing an advanced degree, especially here at CGU. So if you all could speak to why your education here at CGU has separated you from the pack, and by the pack I mean, the competition in the marketplace, or how you believe your trajectory is in separating yourself from the pack in the marketplace. And Lucy, we'll go ahead and start with you.
Sure. I think what CGU emphasizes a lot is the transdisciplinary approach. And you can actually tell, like, for instance, when we go to conferences or when I'm having meetings with like higher, positioned people in organizations, you can tell that at least for us at CGU, we think a little bit more than just, okay, what do we do with this health issue? We look into more about economics, education, environment and things like that. So I think that really it stands out for, at least for myself, that I've seen to other students and myself too, because then it has allowed me to also not just talk about research. In my PhD program, that's what we do. It's great, but what can we do beyond that? So
Excellent. Ariel, as someone who has graduated a program, how do you believe it separated you from the pack in terms of your education and what you've gained here at CGU?
For the master's program, what I really enjoyed was the networking that was available with my peers, but also with my colleagues at the Claremont Consortium, so a part of the 5 undergraduate colleges and also KGI and CGU. So for me, it was this opportunity to see what student affairs looks like outside of just the division that I had been used to, but also make connections, network, and I had 3 graduate assistantships while I was at CGU. One of them was through the consortium. One of them was through the school of, at the time it was called DBOS, which was the Department of Behavior and Organizational Sciences. So through the psychology department, and then also at the Drucker School of Management. So going to Lucy's point, the transdisciplinary aspect of it, it wasn't just the classroom, it was also this opportunity to see that in action being applied.
Perfect. And Jose, if you could share your thoughts on that as well.
Certainly. Before making the decision to choose the Drucker MBA program, I actually went and researched a couple of other schools, went on campus, spent a few hours there actually looking at the movement of people, how they interacted, looking at the architecture of the building and how it made me feel. Because for me, it's not just about coming and doing a program and getting a piece of paper, but it's really a lifelong experience, right? And I've never regretted it in the few years that I've been here since 2015. For me, it separated me in many ways as I reflect back, because I was one of the older students actually coming on, to the professional executive MBA program. As I thought back about my early career as a manager and how much of a disadvantage I was at, let's say, interacting with other people in the accounting finance area, who oftentimes spoke a language that was very different from what I was accustomed to. I realized that I needed to come back and bring a lot of those things together that I got exposed to throughout my career. And that was a career that was almost about, 18 years by then. And for me at this point, I feel that I have actually gotten to the point of being the person that I wanted to be in the role that I needed to be, because I have learned that, to be an effective leader, and it's not just about being a manager and having a title and all that stuff, but it's about understanding not only all the different disciplines, the subjects and everything, but understanding it well enough such that you can interact with other people, make a difference, and actually take the organization to where it needs to be with the people. And this is what Drucker is about. It's not just about coming and, learning about all these things, but learning it in such a way, in a consort, so that you're effective out there. Because again, for me, I realize it's not just about the shell of something, but it's really the substance and the quality inside. And for me, I think that that's what's given me a huge advantage so far at this point.
That's excellent, and I love how everyone had a different perspective on that, because everyone is kind of on this different level of where they are with their career and where they are with their schooling. So excellent job, and thank you for sharing your experiences there. Let's switch gears and talk about work-life balance, right? And I know as an assistant director of admissions, I get this question a lot. Well, how do students balance your obligations at home or out and about and still be able to not just, pass your classes, but to excel and really make the best of this experience here at CGU? So I'm going to ask the same question of you guys. How do you, strike that balance between work, school, family, relationships, all of that? And we'll go back to Ariel. And if you could share a little bit about that from the alumni standpoint, that'd be great.
I think first it's just important to realize that there's no such thing as work-life balance. And once you come to terms with that, then, that's the first step. For me, I will be very frank and say that I don't have children. I'm not married. So I came in being willing to work on campus, take a full-time schedule, and volunteer for extra organizations because I didn't have those obligations at home. But the way that I managed all of that was prioritizing. I had a planner, and when I didn't, when I wasn't able to maybe manage my time well, I learned how to ask for help. I did not learn that skill in college. I did not necessarily learn that skill the 5 years that I was out of college, but I learned that here. Graduate school will keep you humble. So knowing your resources, mine was the Office of Black Student Affairs. I also went to Monsoor Counseling. They had therapists there who were able to talk about time management and how to prioritize things. So that would be my advice, is just understanding that there's no such thing, but you can at least work on time management and learn how to prioritize what's important in that moment.
Excellent. Yeah, Lucy, why don't you go ahead and
Sure.
share your experience?
To be honest, on my first year, my PhD program, I did not manage my time so well. I was up until 4 in the morning, and then up again at 7. So I did not. So that's, I took a lot of classes too. I wanted to get involved, everything. But then again, just like Ariel mentioned, I had to prioritize. And a lot actually of that advice came from my faculty. Yeah, so we've talked about my work and the research I was doing. I want to make sure that I excel in all those areas, but how do I do that? So that's why, besides from asking for help, I also decided to also say no to a lot of things, so that I could definitely, focus on things that, okay, I can do this now. So that's kind of what I went through. Then from now on, it's been much easier, but again, sometimes there's no balance to it, but that's how it is. But it's helpful to have not only the resources, colleagues that are going through the same thing in faculty. So it's definitely.
And I'm curious to know, Lucy, how did faculty actually help you realize that, hey, you know, I need to kind of take it up a notch and I do need to be mindful of this balancing act?
They were getting my emails at 4 a.m, so that was one. And then they were wondering, like, what? She's awake still. So the great thing about the PhD program is that every year you get basically a sit down with your mentors.
Yes.
You go through not only class, but they also asked about life, how's everything going, personal and family, and that's how we were able to discuss some of the things that I was having trouble in my first year.
Excellent, excellent. Jose, I'm going to ask you the same thing. How did you deal with the balancing act of this work-life balance?
You know, let me say that it took me 5 years to come to this decision, and that decision culminated one December when I visited one of the admissions director at that point and said, you know what, now's the time, right? But prior to that, a lot of what helped was going to some of the info sessions that the school provided, and I remember that, you know, kind of like Ariel was mentioning, alumni pass on good information. In this particular case, an individual said, you know, for you to be successful, you got to make sure that you have a good support system, which goes from, you know, your family, significant other, work, your boss, anyone who reports to you, and make sure that they know what your plan is, how important it is, and what value you're going to bring back. So that way, you know, everything is set up to be properly aligned, which is actually a core philosophy in what, you know, good business management is, right? And ultimately, as I reflect back, bringing all your people that you are close with is also one of the core philosophies of the Drucker program, right? And so with that in mind, I already had started my education right there. But a lot of it I had to figure out over time. And, you know, I actually had started a new job, and for the first 2 years, I needed to get a lot of things in place, really kind of understand what I was up against and try to set most of the infrastructure so that I wouldn't have to be putting out fires while I was going through the program. One of the other things that I figured out was that the right balance for me was being able to take 2 full credit classes, which is 4 units. And so that meant that at any given semester, I would take 8 units. And that worked out perfectly, allowed me to be able to take care of work, get studying done, reading assignments, and also be able to spend time with my significant other, as well as being able to visit my family, you know, spend time for, you know, gatherings and things like that. So for me, I struck that balance that way. And I also took advantage of taking, you know, maybe one summer class every, you know, so often, you know, depending on what was offered.
Excellent, excellent. Ariel, I want to pose this question to you. And Lucy mentioned, you know, her interaction with faculty and what that meant to her. Could you go ahead and share a meaningful interaction? It could be inside or outside the classroom that you had with one of our superstar faculty members.
Well, let's see. I've taken a lot of classes here.
They're a superstar.
I know. I think so. I recently, not recently, I don't know when I took his class, but I took a class through the Drucker School. It's called The Practice of Self-Management with Jeremy Hunter. And it's been a couple of years ago. But I took the class mainly because I thought it was an interesting class. The premise behind it is business students, they learn how to manage projects, they learn how to manage companies, they learn how to manage themselves. But this class really focused on how do you manage yourself. And I thought that it was an interesting perspective. But in that class, we talked about mindfulness. And I spent a semester going to classes with him, and he still remembers my name. And it's you can be in a class with someone and you not see them for a couple of years, but he still remembers my name. He still remembers some of the conversations that we had in class. He led, so I currently work here at CGU, and he led a staff retreat for us. And he was able to connect with me because we had been in class together. So, Yeah, that's just one of the small things, but they remember you.
Excellent. As time is coming to an end, I want to pose a question, and I will start with Jose. If you can just give a quick some quick perspective on this. If you can go back in time and kind of talk to the Jose, the Lucy, the Ariel that first started at CGU, what advice would you give that particular individual in order to be the best version of themselves here at CGU?
You know what? Jump in wholehearted. This is a huge investment in yourself, your future, and being able to make an impact. Go in with the right frame of reference as to why you're doing it. Don't go in because you're wanting to come out with a piece of paper or a title and the such, but go in because you understand what the school and the program means to you and how it's going to help you make a difference as you go through your journey and your career in life.
Excellent. Lucy?
I agree with Jose too, and not be afraid to really, build those relationships with staff, with other students, even with faculty. Like Ariel said, they will remember your name. And even from my own personal experience, my own mentor, I should have, became closer to him early on so that we can have even a stronger relationship. Basically, he's helped me through my process. I recently became, a U.S. citizen, I guess legal resident. So he was able to connect me with somebody that has gone through the process too. So that was, even though it's not academic, it's outside as well, and it has affected. So being able to build those relationships and getting involved, in different activities. I was actually part of the student association at my school too. So I was able to network and, and help other mentees and throughout the process as well.
Excellent. Ariel, if you want to share really quick.
Sure. I think for me, it's just I started grad school after being out of school for 5 years. So the challenge that I had was feeling like I was ready for grad school and that I was here for not the right reasons, but that I was here. I learned about the imposter syndrome. And recognizing the signs and realizing that I'm not an imposter. I am here for a reason. I was selected for a reason, and I will be successful here. That was probably the one thing that I wish I had learned early on.
Excellent. Panelists, I want to just, once again, thank you. I've thanked you so many times throughout this whole entire process, but thank you again, honestly, for your transparency. There are a lot of people that are viewing you today that I'm sure may reach out to you, but ultimately are very, very thankful that you guys are here to share your experience and just, I really appreciate your honesty. So guys, that's all the time that we have for today. If you guys are interested in contacting any of our admission representatives, any of our assistant directors of admission, or any of these folks on the panel, you can email us at admissions@cgu.edu. It's been a pleasure. Once again, my name was Jeremy McWells, and from the School of Social Science, Policy and Evaluation, and we're looking forward to seeing you in the fall. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.